So you've just bought your first electric drum kit. You brought it home, you set it up, and you're ready to go. Or are you? In today's video, I'm going to take you through the do's and don'ts of setting up an electric drum kit in a way that hopefully means you won't damage the electric drum kit or start developing any bad habits when you start to practice. Let's get stuck in. Now, this first one is one that I see a lot, and that is setting up your drums like cannons, or that the drums are facing you at a really extreme angle. So as you can see here, when I go to strike the drum, it's more of a stabbing motion, and that is terrible for these mesh heads. You're going to tear them, you're going to damage them, and also you're not going to get the kind of rebound that you need from the drums in order to play all the things that you need to play. What you want is something that looks a bit more like this. So the drums are pretty much flat. You still do have a bit of a tilt towards you, but it's not very extreme. It's a slight tilt. So as you see, when I go around the drums, I'm getting more of a rebound now from each of the mesh heads. And this is how they're designed to be hit. Not with a stabbing motion, but from almost side on. And the same for our cymbal pads as well. They've got to be nice and flat too. I see this a lot too. You see that all of the pads are really far away from each other. So that means I'm having to move a great distance between each of these pads. Now, whilst this might be a little bit more like an acoustic set, we don't really need the pads to be this far apart from one another. It's taking a lot more energy for us to move between each of the drums, and so ultimately that's going to make us slower. What we want to do is we want to bring everything in and compact it a little bit more, like this. You see here that everything is a lot closer. There's just enough space for my leg to fit between the snare and tom 3. My leg isn't touching either of the pads, but it's still fairly close to my leg. And then this way, it's much more efficient to get around your drums and reach everything. You're not going to be straining or hurting yourself. You can see here that this kit is way too low for me. When I'm trying to hit the snare drum, my left leg is getting in the way. When I'm trying to play around the drums, my right leg is getting in the way. And so I'm about 6'2". So what I'm going to need to do is raise this up quite a lot to make sure that everything is in the right position. So yeah, with everything a lot higher, it's much more comfortable for me when I hit that snare drum. My leg isn't getting in the way, and when I'm playing around the drums, I'm not hitting either legs, and there's plenty of movement for me to get around. And as I've kept all of the pads close together, I'm not having to reach a long distance in order to be able to reach every part of the kit. In terms of the stool height, you want your legs to be at just a little bit bigger than a right angle. This can be quite difficult to achieve on some of the cheaper stools like this one, because this one, for example, comes with pre-made holes. So there's only a limit to what sort of height that you can set them at. Some of the more expensive stools can swivel, so you have way more control over that height, and you'll find it a lot easier to get yourself into a comfortable playing position. As I said before, I am 6'2". This is about where I would have the kit set up for me. I would say that the stool's probably a little bit on the low side for me. So if I was on a swivel chair, I'd probably come up just a little bit. But you want to make sure that you're not sitting too low, so that when you're playing the bass drum pedal, it's all coming from your heel down. But also you don't want to be so high up that you're sort of stirring the pedal with your heel up like this. You want to kind of find a happy medium, happy balance between the two like that. So I hope that helped. Remember, you don't want to be setting the pads up as cannons. You want to keep everything nice and level. You want everything fairly close so it's easy for you to reach. You want to make sure that your legs are at just a little bit bigger than a right angle. And yeah, don't hesitate to just play around with a few different settings and kind of find what works best for you and what's the most comfortable for you. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some valuable information out of it. Be sure to subscribe. If you have any questions or thoughts on the video, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to read them. But failing that, I'll see you next time.